What is up, down, and sideways, you beautiful individuals? Welcome back to League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you beauties. Back into that Worlds 2023 preview grind, and this happens every year when there's a massive favorite. Going back 2021 FPX, 2020 Damwon. You look at the massive favorite, and then you look at every other team at the event, and you say, are you picking the huge favorites, or are you taking the field? And that is exactly what we're doing today with JDG.
And every year, I think there's like a new batch of ammo for you to believe in a squad to that full extent, to have that thought in your mind where you're like, you know what? I'm so confident. I'm so impressed with what I've seen. It's got to be them versus everything else that you've seen this year. And the odds for that type of situation, it's almost crazy to say it, but it does come down to it where there is one or two teams, a handful of squads that you can have this conversation about before we get to Worlds. And we've got a doozy for one this year in 2023 with JDG from the LPL.
And we'll start with just hyping up what JDG has done and gotten you to the point why you think you might pick them against the field. We are talking about 27-5 record in the regular season of the LPL. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Well, they've just got an 87-25 overall record throughout this entire 2023. And then you go to the best of fives where they are a cool 10-0 with 3 titles to their name, have not dropped a best of since 2022 Worlds, which is not the current starting 5.
I don't even think that in all the years of doing this type of show, doing these conversations about the heading to Worlds and having a squad be at this type of level, have we seen a team be at the degree that JDG is at, the polish, the consistency that we saw all the way throughout the year while playing at that elite level, having these unbelievable players make the unbelievable happen. That was what JDG got done this year. This is a squad that if you look at their, having a gold advantage 15 minutes in, 90.9% win rate going on with that one. So if you're finding yourself down in gold, which you will very often.
I feel like that happens 90% of games too.
15 minutes in, you can wrap that thing up basically is the way that they were sealing things up this year.
And obviously, I mean, across the board, there's guys to highlight here, best in their role in most of the positions coming into this split. Their team fighting is absolutely nutty. So, I mean, how are you possibly picking anybody against a team that has been so incredibly dominant domestically and internationally? Well, we've had this before. We've had teams that we're so excited about, expect them to dominate. RNG 2018, FPX 2021. There's something magical that happens at the World Championship, and there's a lot of variables heading into this one. Number one, first and foremost, is a brand new format. We don't know how teams will adapt, change to the Swiss format. Obviously, the bracket stage is the same. Then you have this Asian Games wrinkle. Is this going to mess up the synergy of JDG, having guys play on different squads with different players on a different patch? There's so many question marks that aren't going to be answered because we won't have seen the starting 5 of JDG or many of the other teams play for almost 2 months.
The inevitable and overlong type of wait that we always have at the end of the year heading into the Worlds event. It's crazy to think about this JDG team and how confident that you can be in that level of play that they have offered and the consistency of that this year, that you do have this type of conversation and what really can happen when you're looking at them. And I think that it is one of those ones that we kind of skip over talking about some of these other players that we have looked at in our preview event for it, is that there can be that little bit of a mix up from this type of event, that where it does kind of switch your wires around type of thing and how you're communicating, how you're trying to do things in game, and you don't adjust enough in time for Worlds. And then even just the Worlds event in itself, having everything come down to that type of event, having everything flow through, any little hurdle can take down some of these best teams that we have seen. Confidence in JDG. They're star power players that can do it themselves. This is the team to beat.
absolutely the team to beat. But when you look at that field, there's still some pretty star-studded rosters, and it doesn't take much for things to go wrong. Bad read on the meta, better read on the meta from one of these other squads, which is why I'm siding with the field, even though JDG has been so good. And first team you can look at is the three-peating champs from the LCK. I mean, individually, talent-wise, I think they can match up, at least hold their own across the board. Maybe, assuming Peanut has a good day on the Rift, that'd be the one thing I got a question mark going for. But storyline-wise, we were denied this marquee matchup at MSI, despite both squads being there. But Pays versus Ruler, so much to prove there. Gen.G, it's a tough matchup, obviously, against JDG because they are so much more aggressive, but you wouldn't be completely shocked if Gen.G's taken down JDG.
No, I don't think anybody should. I think that is that good reminder as you talk about back-to-back-to-back champions of the LCK, and it's really an evaluation of where you're valuing the LCK right now. Maybe not as titanic an elite region as it had been in the past due to the success and rise of the LPL and teams like JDG that can take this type of top dog spot away from someone that is a back-to-back-to-back champion in the LCK. But do not doubt these players. Do not doubt Chovy in the mid lane. And as you laid out, our boy, the rookie, Pays, stepping into the spotlight, matching up to what his predecessor, Ruler on JDG, was able to reach on Gen.G, and he's doing it a heck of a lot faster, which is crazy to say given that Ruler is picking up that World's trophy as a rookie.
And it's a mystery to kind of compare these two because they obviously haven't played on the Rift. Then you look at the rest of this field, squads that have given JDG the most difficulty this year. T1 forced Game 5 at MSI. Okay, that was an incredibly competitive back and forth series. Felt like JDG hadn't fully leveled up yet at that point. But then you're looking at LNG, who forced back-to-back Game 5s in these very summer playoffs. And honestly, one or two team fights or moments go a couple of different ways, and we're talking about LNG in a totally different light.
LNG is an incredibly interesting team to talk about in this type of conversation, this type of zone, because of how good and what they were able to do in the summer split and how things came together with Gala in the bot lane, really delivering that RNG Gala level of hype, level of elite in the bot lane. That was a big difference. That pushes a squad like LNG into this conversation where you can have this talk now. As you mentioned, 2 or 3, maybe 4 team fights go their way in that finals, and we're talking about them taking over against JDG. Has these last month and a half, 2 months been enough for this LNG team to sort things out, level it up where they can be the victor against JDG?
Then you've got the other two squads that have had almost opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of success against JDG. Obviously, we got to talk about Billy, who have gotten beaten up by the older brother of JDG all year long. 5 wins, 19 losses. JDG have smacked down on them. Obviously, all of them are most important ones coming in the finals of the LPL and at MSI. But maybe there's an angle. They've seen enough of JDG that we get a Samsung White versus Samsung Blue effect. You lose all year to the same team, only to beat them at Worlds.
When it matters most, you get it down there. That's the way you look at a squad getting it done at Worlds in that type of fashion. It's tough to say for Billy and what they can do because, yes, we have seen it so many times, except for that final little bit of the LPL, and that's where that question mark goes. Are you in that zone? Can you hang back up there? Or have you genuinely settled into a tier below where this ultra elite, the tournament favorite type of conversation should be? For a squad like BLG, unfortunately for me at this point, I'm looking in that mid lane. I'm looking at Yagao and I'm saying, you have been someone that has been that answer, that neutralizer to some of these, incredible mid laners that you have to go up against, these lethal talents in the LPL. Not up to it this year, given the stature that players like Knight, like Scout are delivering in the league. That's where I look at a team like BLG, and we can talk all we want about Bin. We can talk all we want about Elk. but you do need to stop in that mid lane in a league like the LPL when you've got the talent and you've got the kill pressure that you can generate with these type of players.
Especially when you see any of these teaser interviews with Knight, his confidence,
Oh
rightfully
boy.
so, is at an all-time high. He's ready to absolutely style on some people at this event, and that other team on the opposite end of the spectrum, and one of the main reasons why I'm taking the field over JDG, is the ultimate landmine grenade that is Weibo Gaming, Mark. The only team on the planet in 2023 to have a winning record against JDG. They won both series in the spring and summer to the tune of 4-1. All the other teams at this event should say, Mr. Weibo, please just get rid of JDG so the rest of us have a chance.
Everybody, get the bubble tea, get the spa packages out for your boy. The Shy in the top side, and of course, Xiaohu in the mid lane. Those are your two big star players with Weibo Gaming that we got to be paying attention to. And yes, those are the type of X factors for a squad like Weibo, who maybe is not at the ultra consistency, elite prime type of level where you talk about, or as comfortable as with a squad like JDG, back-to-back champions in Gen G type of thing. But you really do need to look at what they were able to do in that head-to-head, as you outlined. When things were right for Weibo Gaming, they were absolutely a team that was able to step up to that pace, step up to that challenge in talent, and take down JDG. Can they put it together enough times when it matters most? That's where you're really betting on yourself and betting on this Weibo team.
And they were winning games down 7-8K against JDG, which is absolutely unheard of throughout all of 2023. So bring them into the gutter, let them get a little dirty, make them a little uncomfortable. Seems to be the recipe to potentially upset this squad. Honestly, if you had the knockout stage where there was a losers round, I'd feel even more confident talking about JDG, but there's a reason no one's had the golden year. There's so many things that have to go right, and all it takes is one bad day or one slightly off day and another team overperforms, and that's it. Tournament's over.
And I think with the change in format that we're having this year, it is an incredible conversation to have about how that might have that impact. Because of course, as we know, I think that this format is going to be better. It is going to be more fair, all these type of things. And looking at the past format, there were these little pitfalls that could happen to a front runner, to a favorite, where you do have that one slip up and you don't get that opportunity to rebound. I think we're going to have that for the top teams this year, even throughout this, early stage and format for them. You still got to get it done when it matters most here for these teams. And if you're not getting it done, you're not operating at that ultra level, big time disappointments coming through.
There's obviously a massive target on JDG's back, and everyone's going to be looking to take games off them, and that is just the price you pay to be wearing that heavy crown. But yes, still, they're going to be massive favorites for the overall event and one of the most exciting teams to watch. But that is it today for Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you, beautiful people. Thank you for watching as always, and we will catch you on that flippity flip.